the mid-cap banks today. They're doing extremely well, and this as UAE-based Emirates NBD Bank is set to acquire a controlling stake of 60% in RBI through a primary capital infusion of nearly 27,000 crore rupees. Will also be making a mandatory open offer. So to discuss this and more and market at large, we do have with us Nikhil Khandelwal, who's the Managing Director at Systematix Group. Nikhil, thank you so much for joining in. Wish you, your team, your family a very, very happy Diwali and festive greetings as well. Let's start with the banking space. You guys have been bullish on it. From the lows, the Nifty Bank has actually, rallied almost 10,000 points. And it's at a fresh record high, screaming and moving further higher as well, only boosted by this deal that has taken place in RBL Bank. And that's caused a bit of a flutter in all the other mid-cap banks as well, which are buzzing around today. What's your view now after this run-up? Do you think there's space for more? What would your top picks specifically in the banking and financial space be?
Yeah, good morning and good afternoon, and thanks for having us on the show. Banking sector, of course, has been from our desk has been one of the strongest buy calls over the past couple of months. We have been seeing that the Indian banks per se have been maintaining very strong balance sheet, but also there's a lot of value which was beginning to come in the banking sector. But what has played out, I think, beyond the fundamentals has been a significant vote of confidence on the banking sector by global investors. Which started with the transaction in Yes Bank. I think SMBC transaction, although it was a secondary transaction. A large global bank taking a stake in a mid-sized Indian bank. I think it spoke a lot about the Indian banking sector, followed by the transaction of IHC in Samman Capital, and now this largest FDI in the banking, in the mid-sized banking, in a mid-sized bank from UAE, second largest bank, wherein the net worth of RBL is just about 15,000 crores, and the bank will be getting close to about 27,000 crores of capital infusion. This changes the entire dynamics of the banking sector, and kind of one gray area within the banking sector, which is a mid-sized bank, gets a significant vote of confidence. A lot of such buzz is happening in Federal Bank as well. So combination of all these developments combined with the value which sits in the banking sector at large gives a lot of confidence for Indian as well as global investors to put more capital within the banking sector. I think broadly this is the broader way which we have been looking at it, but within the space we have been quite excited by the potential value as well as the potential growth prospects within the PSU banks. So while private banks has been an interesting play combined with the potential of earnings rebound and deep value, PSU banks, according to us, are another big pocket of growth and investment, which we have been looking at quite positively. Sure. And all our calls are among the larger banks in PSUs, whether it's the SBIs or the BOBs and the PNBs. And definitely those are a significant amount of pockets of capital where there's a lot of value and growth, both quite visible.
Sure. Nikhil, if you could just sort of narrow that down for us, considering that you are liking PSU banks, you like the larger banks at this point in time. So tell us what exactly is your preference list? If you could just list out maybe your top 3 banks within the PSU space, your top 3 banks within the private banking space, and within these two as well, what is your preference?
Right. I think what the way we have been looking at the banking space, I think the balance sheet of the banks per se has been, whether it's PSU or private, I'm talking about mostly the larger banks, has been top notch. There is, however, pressure of advances growth, which we are beginning to see in some of the larger private banks. Wherein the larger consensus view and our analyst expectation and our house expectation also on the private banking space for advances growth is high single digits. However, on the PSU banking front, we believe that the advances growth will be in low teens. And that kind of advances growth will mean that these banks will register, the PSU banks will register higher earnings momentum going forward. The second thing in our view is that the quality of earnings, the PSU banks actually generate the proportion of their revenue, which comes from fee income, as well as other sources of non-banking income like housing finance, etc., has been quite low. They have been inching up their fee income portfolio as well as their other income, non-banking income portfolio and book quite aggressively. And those factors will actually ensure that in times when general NIMs are shrinking, the PSU bank should be able to not just maintain and possibly expand their net interest margins going forward. So a combination of these three factors is why PSU banks are actually topping our buy list.
Sure.
In that, as I said, Bank of Baroda stacks up as number one, followed by SBI and then PNB.
Okay, Bank of Baroda, SBI, and then PNB. Nikhil, then, you've spoken about and you started by saying these flows, foreign flows that have come in from the banking side. Do you expect that to still continue going forward as well for more banks? Federal Bank, obviously, the buzz is going around there as well. And what will it do to the books of these banks then going forward?
No, I think the federal banks or the RBLs, etc., have a significant, I'll say, significant position in the banking space. They have created strong retail as well as corporate base in India, Yes Bank included. The health of these banks, their capability to provide loans, especially working capital financing. And as I think as we move forward, a lot of private and public capex is also kind of increasing. These banks have a significant role in shaping the larger banking sector. I think the health of these banks and more than the health, I think the perception about the larger banking sector through these mid-sized banks has to remain extremely positive for the larger health of the economy. I think broadly, from that perspective, these banks getting some very serious anchor investors and promoters. Secondly, getting this kind of capital will ensure that these banks not just start to engage and come back into the market as far as corporate lending and retail lending is concerned, but also expand other avenues of financing. RBI is opening up the banking sector on multiple fronts, including acquisition financing, etc. And we need strong domestic banking sector to ensure that these new avenues and new growth areas are capitalized by the larger banking sector and the Indian banking sector.
Absolutely. Point is taken, Nikhil, and we wish you a happy Diwali and festive season. Thank you very much for joining in and speaking with CNBC TV 18. Well, we need to take a short break with the news that the Midcap index is up around 0.8%. We have the Bank Nifty also, which is up a cool 454 odd points. Take a short break, but we'll get talking more about the market. Sudeep Shah from SBI Securities will join in with his trading call. Stay tuned.